extractions on Beverlee. I'm just now going over her skin with a lotion. Because her nose area is sensitive, because we were quite aggressive in removing some of the sebum there, I'm going to do just a very light little, a little bit of the retinol on her nose and put a mask on over top. And we're just going to leave it on her for a few minutes, not very long at all. And now I'm going to use a little bit of retinol. Now very often, depending on the skin colouring, I would at this point do an AHA to shrink the pore size. I am going to use a retinol to do the same thing, because if I use the AHA, the fruit complex on her, it's going to fry the skin. So once you've opened up the skin, you don't want to fry the skin, because if you fry the skin is going to get darker in colour there, and that's really important. Now in some of my previous videos, I've mentioned that I prefer to use retinols on darker skin tones than I do alpha hydroxy acids. And that does not mean, because I've had a lot of people ask me, does that mean they can still use an AHA, which is your glycolic, lactic, malate, tartaric, and citrus? They've asked me if they can still use that. It's yes, you can, but just gently. You know, you don't want to be using too much of it. As I said, it's just retinols tend to just work better on darker skin tones generally. And when I'm speaking about retinols, I'm never speaking of a prescription strength. I'm always speaking of retinols that are a mild retinol and one that you can layer. So you might be putting a healing gel, you might be putting a serum on, and then putting a little bit of retinol on. And you don't have to use it every day. You know, if you're using it, you know, 3 or 4 times a week, that's absolutely fine too. Some people, you know, you've got to kind of wean into it, and sometimes it takes, you know, it takes some time for your skin to get used to it. In Beverlee's case, which is what she said earlier, is the same thing. It took her skin a little bit of time to wean into using retinols. But now the difference of her skin is no longer the surface dryness, therefore no longer those fine little lines that she had on her forehead when we first saw her. Her skin texture is so much smoother. And, you know, again, we're talking about her skin was already a really pretty skin, but it's now more refined, it's a more youthful, and it just, you know, it's a happier skin. So this is what's really good. We're using the retinol around the nose area here, and I'm going to layer a mask over top of it. Okay, this is the mask, and we're layering it over top of the retinol. I've used the retinol formula on her skin, which is the professional strength retinol, and we're just layering this over top here now. Now what I do in treatment is stronger than what you're going to be doing at home. So this is what I call, this is a boosting treatment that I do for my clients. So, you know, of course their home care regimen is amazing, but what I like to do when they come in is give their skin a boost, and that often takes the skin to another level, and that boost could be doing different types of things. But it's going to be with a retinol, or it's going to be with an alpha hydroxy acid, or I'm going to do a peel on their skin. I've had recently some estheticians that have been asking us, you know, about the peeling formula that we use, and they're wanting to do peels. And I will say, I know it's very tempting, and a lot of people get excited about a peel because they know it changes the skin and it makes a difference. The thing is, when you start doing peels, you have to have prepared the skin, and you have to, you know, there's a price you pay for a lot of things. People are very quick, especially in this town, to be doing stuff that they think they're going to get the fastest, the quickest, and the best results. And let me tell you something, it doesn't work like that. So if you want your skin to be the best it can be, you have to do certain steps. There is no quick fix. What there is really good products and a really good regimen. So it's really important that you understand, just by doing a really strong peel, that is actually, it can be a disaster. And when people say to me, especially new estheticians that are saying, well, why can't I peel the skin? And I want to say to you, and I hope you're all listening, and especially some of them that wrote some emails, is that I want to say, number one, you've only just started and you've just got out of SD school, okay? You need to know skin. You need to work with the skin. Don't even think about doing peels unless you've been working with the skin for at least 2 years. because you need to know what happens to the skin, and you're not going to know by just sitting here or there listening to me speak into a camera. It doesn't work like that. You have to work with the skin, and you have to understand what you're doing. It's really important that you do that, because if you do not, you will get into major problems and you will have lawsuits. People will be after you because you would have damaged their skin. So I'm saying to you, it's very important that you understand you do not go into peeling the skin straight away. You prepare the skin, you work with your alpha hydroxy acid, you work with retinols, you do things that are going to make a difference to the skin, because you know that behavior of saying, well, let's just peel the skin, it doesn't work where the skin is like a baby's bottom that everyone refers to, and all of a sudden everyone's walking around with this baby bottom skin. It doesn't work like that. So for you esties out there that are new, do not even consider doing peels on the skin for at least 2 years. Once you've been working with the skin and you understand what happens, and especially with a skin that has a lot of color in it, it is a very sensitive skin. It is very easy to mess up pigment cells. And the most difficult thing that I work with, that I deal with in my business, and that is 41 years that I've been doing this, is pigment issues. Because that is not something that you can always fix. And if some of you have watched my Azura videos and my Critica videos, you will see, although you will be seeing someone shortly, we did actually get rid of brown spots. But Critica, Azura, they still have melasma. They still have those spots. It goes up and down. Sometimes it's better than others because it is something that's controlled by hormones. It's very important that you understand, if you are a new esthetician out there working, you do not go straight into doing peels. And if you ask me why, I will tell you again, you do not do it. And that's just it. And if you want to do that, then please, I am not the person to speak to, because I cannot help you any longer. So it is something I am telling you, it's very important that you understand, otherwise you will have problems. And I'm being very tough about this because I get an enormous amount of emails of people wanting to quickly go into doing peels on people's skin. And as I said, it is not okay. So please do not email me asking why I cannot do peels on people if you are straight out of Esty school. If you have been working as an esthetician, hands-on for 2 years, then my ears will listen to you. But until then, do not do peels on people. It is not worth it, and it is not worth the risk, and you can actually damage people's skin, and that is for a long time, long term. So don't do it. Okay, we are now back to Beverlee, going to take off her mask. Alrighty. We are back. I have 2 warm towels. I'm going to remove Beverlee's mask. I recently just came back from speaking in Dallas, and a month prior I was in Philadelphia, and I had an enormous amount of estheticians that came up to me and actually get very emotional when they see me, because a lot of them, you know, really understand, especially esties that have been working a long time in the business, and I say this when I'm speaking, is I talk a lot about courage. And that courage is that you need to also be able to tell your clients what it is they need to be doing at home. Because if you are not telling your clients how to take care of their skin at home, they will go somewhere else to have somebody else tell them how to take care of their skin at home. And it's really important because we take care of people's skin. This is what we do. We spend time explaining to our clients what it is that they need to do to make their skin better. And people come to us because they trust what we tell them. So it's really important that you don't be afraid to tell your clients what they need to do at home. And that's something that I think, I talk about this years ago when I first started in the industry. I would say I was worried to tell people, I was afraid to tell people to use certain home care because I was worried that maybe they couldn't afford it. If I prescribe products to people for home, maybe they couldn't afford it, and I felt bad. But in actual fact, I was doing them a disjustice by not telling them what to use on their skin, because I know it makes their skin better, but who am I to make that decision of whether, you know, I tell my client what to do or not? Because we want to give our clients options, and we want them to make that decision once we've informed them of what they should be doing at home. So I think it's really important to, as an esthetician, to remember that it is, you know, it is very important that you inform your client of what it is they should do at home, and not just what it is they should do, but, you know, the treatment, the regimen they should be doing, but also the product they should be using at home. It's very important that you inform them of what it is they should be using, and then give your client that choice of whether they want to take it or not. So don't be afraid and do what I did for the first 10 years in business and not want to sell home care regimens to people because I was afraid that maybe they couldn't afford it. I was actually doing them a disjustice. So I want you all to understand what I'm saying here. I understand it's a lot to take in, and it's a lot, especially when you're new in the business, to try to figure out whether, you know, what type of regimen I need to have them on, and it's all overwhelming because you're new to the industry and you just want the best for your client. I understand that. So, you know, even if on, you know, you're looking at your client's skin, and even if there's just one, you know, one thing that's the most important thing that stands out to you, that you can say, you know what, Beverlee, I really just want you to use an eye product because I know that's going to make your eyes 30% better, and please can I introduce an eye product to you on this trip. So whatever it is, you know, don't be afraid to talk to your clients. And it really is about having courage, because your clients will not know if you don't tell them. And you need to do that. So please, from my own experience, I'm just saying that it is a really good thing to do. You will build a better business if you do that. You will build a more loyal clientele that will be very grateful to you for helping them change their skin. Okay, we've removed Beverlee's mask. Now, my treatments, as I go and I'm doing my videos, they don't have to be really long and lengthy. And I'm saying this to you also. We are about changing people's skin. And we know, I know, that I can do this without someone taking pills, antibiotics and other things. I know that there's a lot we can do to make the skin different. We are working on the very outer layer, but look at the difference that you can make in somebody's skin. And again, you don't have to do a whole bunch of things, but everything that I use on my client's face has a purpose. And I want you to think about that too. Everything you put on your client's skin, what is that doing for your client's skin? It's not, you just don't put something on their face because it says it's a moisturizer for dry skin. You know what your products are, and you know what they do for your skin, for the skin, and you know what that's doing for your client's skin. So that if your client says to you, well, Nerida, what is this moisturizer going to do to my face? You know what that moisturizer is going to do for her skin. You know a couple of the ingredients that are within inside, if not more than a couple, and you know how they work on the skin and how it's going to benefit your client's skin. So these are things that are really important. You don't have to be a chemist. And I know, because of emails that I get from all over the world, which by the way is amazing, thank you for all the support I get from everywhere. I know that a lot of beauty schools are playing my videos all over the world. And to me, that is such, I'm so honored that this is something that is happening. But I also feel really good because I know that, you know, they're very smart people, because they have their students listening to other people that work with their hands. And I think that this is really important. And it's a way of, you know, everybody does their work differently. This is how I do my work. This is how I get results. You've all seen my results. So it's just really important, know your tools, know how they benefit your client's skin, and that's what you do. You don't need a whole bunch of things. But everything that you put on your client's face, it has to make sense. And if I said to you, well, what is that particular product doing for that particular client's skin, I would like to know that you would know what it's doing. That's really important. So so there we go. I've mixed a little more retinol, a little more of my Q flavonoid, a little bit of healing gel. We put that on Beverlee's skin, and now I'm just putting a moisturizer over top. Now Beverlee's skin is going to feel a little bit sensitive around the nose area. That is normal because her nose has been squished because I was squeezing it. So she's going to feel a little sensitive, and that could even be through until tomorrow. But not, the skin is not damaged, it's just that her nose will feel a little bit uncomfortable. And as I said, when you're doing extractions on people's nose, some people have a very sensitive nose, and maybe they've had their nose broken and they've had some surgery on it, which means, of course, it's going to be even more sensitive. So just be very, very conscious. For some people, the nose area is a very, very sensitive area for extractions. Other people, they're very sensitive around the jawline, and sometimes it's on the forehead. So it's different. Some people, you can squeeze their nose and they don't feel anything. But it's just know that everybody's different, and that's how you work with your clients, is that you know, you have to be sensitive to watching their face. If they're squeezing their face really tight and you can tell if something's hurting them, obviously just be very sensitive to your client's needs. Okay, we have a little bit of eye cream I'm just putting around Beverlee's eyes, and then we're all done. We have finished another video here for Beverlee. Her nose area looks fantastic. She still just has a couple of the larger ones there that are not dislodging. Her nose is much smoother, and we've really broken that down a lot. And with her home care, with her working on that area, working in her treatment products, it's really breaking that hardened sebum up. So I thank you for being a trooper today, Beverlee, and putting up with me squeezing your nose as intensely as I do. I thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you back all again soon for another Nerida Joy video. Bye-bye.